Cowboys versus
That
Raiders.
was, you know how they say everything is a game of inches?
That was
a game of inches for sure. It came down to a play, Derek Carr losing the ball to the end zone. It went through the end zone and out of the end zone, resulting in a touchback. First down, Dallas. They won the game after that. I think a lot of NFL fans didn't like the rules. Obviously, besides Cowboys fans, they didn't really probably care that much.
They loved it.
They loved it. I mean, who wouldn't really? If you're a Cowboys fan, and also
Cowboys fan probably wrote the rule.
They probably did. And if he scored on that play, if they called that a touchdown, their chances of winning the playoffs are far from over. I mean, they're over, actually. So I think that game was a definition of game of inches. Dak Prescott, once again, and didn't play great. So, it was definitely really close. It was a one play, another controversial call, another inches play, where it was like a quarterback sneak.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people did not believe he got it. Besides the refs, the refs put a paper
got the first down
between the marker and the football, and it went
really,
yeah, and the paper went right through the both. And usually that would have been just this much short, but they gave them a first down. It should have been a turnover on downs. Raiders ball, they score a field goal.
I wonder if that's literally in the rule book. That if it's that close where you can't visually see it, or at least with your eyes. You need it literally says a piece of paper must slide through in order to be considered a first down. I mean, I wonder if that literally is. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, it looks like the Raiders came out more energized. I mean, they were scoreless in the first half. They scored all their points in the second. They scored the touchdown in the fourth to bring it close. But the Cowboys just seemed like they kind of plodded along. I mean, field goal in the first, couple touchdowns in the second, third, and then they ended with a field goal just like they started in the first and the fourth, and it was enough. So if you had to put, and you might have already discussed a little of this before, but if you had to put one deciding factor on it, as aside from the controversial plays, what did one team do better than the other to pull it out? Aside from getting help from the refs.
I think that the Cowboys did a lot of job of controlling the game pretty much. I know they had 2 interceptions. Obviously, Dak Prescott didn't play great once again. I mean, he hasn't really played great with this whole Zeke suspension thing. I mean, no game he played.
If that's taking his running game out or reducing his running game, I mean, he's going to air it out more.
I think, too, is that the big plays was definitely the reason they won this game, because they were able to get a 40-yard pass down to Dez Bryant to get into field goal range, I think.
Okay.
And I think that the help of the running game, too, I know it wasn't great, but I think them just with the time of possessions definitely helped, because they had a lot more big plays than the Raiders did. So, and I think that's why they really won the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stats, and the stats are literally as close as the score would indicate. I mean, the Cowboys had slightly more total yards, slightly more passing yards, just barely more rushing yards, but that shows. I mean, in the score, that they just had barely enough more to get them by.
Yeah,
so they were just efficient enough in the offensive side of things to outduel the Oakland Raiders.
And the stats really prove that too, because it was just so close. Like, if Jeff Heath, that play where fumbled out of the end zone through the end zone, resulting in touchback, it was actually Jeff Heath's speed that made the play.
I mean, even the possession time was almost the same.
Yeah, it was really, really close. This was a definition of game of inches.
Yeah, sure. It almost looks on paper that it was almost they were almost playing an identical game.
Yeah, and I think, too, the thing that is crazy, I think Dez Bryant, it was his second catch of the year, over 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. So this was the first time they've actually had big plays down the field, not just yards after catch. And I think that Dez Bryant play was definitely pretty crazy, to say the least. And how the Raiders defense played pretty well. I mean, and I think the Cowboys defense played just a little bit better. I mean, they didn't look great. They didn't have no interceptions, no sacks or anything, but they looked a lot better. They were able to contain Marshawn Lynch too. He didn't play all that great, so that definitely was a big factor for them. So next up, what game